everybody, it is the Lawn Gnome, and welcome back to your favorite segment over here on my channel, Out of the Vault. If you are new, let me just say welcome. It is a pleasure to have you. And for all of you returning, I hope that you are excited for another dive into the world of Disney. Notice I didn't say magical this time, but there are many reasons as to why these days. But today we're going to be talking about a film that is truly magical, and believe it or not, also a film that is not actually by Disney. It is actually given to us by G-Kids Entertainment. It is the newest offering from Studio Ghibli. It is the 23rd film in the library, and a film that carries a great deal of accolades. It came out in 2023. It was announced long after Hayao Miyazaki had decided that he was going to officially be hanging everything up and calling it quits, that there was still room for at least one more film that had him in the director's chair, as well as at the writer's table. It had been 10 years since his last project that he had actually run, and that, of course, was The Wind Risers. And it had been almost 10 years since the last Studio Ghibli film was released, which was When Marnie Was There. This movie came out, and it was officially given the award of Best Animated Feature of 2023, beating expectations and beating a lot of films that a lot of people thought were going to capture that Academy Award. But the question is The Boy and the Heron truly one of the greatest Hayao Miyazaki films of all time? After seeing it, I personally am going to say no, but I'm not going to say that this movie is bad. As a matter of fact, there are a great deal of messages that are very positive and uplifting that come from a story that is actually about loss. It is the story about a boy who is coping with the loss of his mother, who died in a hospital during the bombing in World War II. And through that, he discovers this mysterious gray heron who is more than what he seems, and he becomes the guide for this boy to give him the true answers that he seeks, and that is his mother in fact alive or dead, so he can finally let these feelings go and move on with his life. This is actually a very powerful film because this was a film that Hayao Miyazaki decided that he was going to make for his grandson. Originally, it was called How Do You Live? And it was supposed to give his fictional yet somewhat truthful biography. This is actually based on Hayao Miyazaki's life, loosely of course. The real parts are definitely real, but the fantasy is definitely not real. But it is amazing to see how, even in someone's darkest of times, deep within their soul, how they can attempt to escape to a place of whimsy and magical imagery and outstanding impossibilities, even when they are trying to cope with the death of someone that they truly love. And that's really what Hayao Miyazaki was trying to do in this story. Talk about how he may have coped with the loss of his mother during wartime. There is a great deal of interesting cast members attached to the English voicing, including people like Christian Bale, Willem Dafoe, both of them returning after doing their performances in the 2004 release of Howl's Moving Castle, as well as some newcomers, including Dave Bautista, and probably the most interesting voice of all, and that, of course, was Robert Pattinson voicing the Heron. You would never guess that that was actually him, but my goodness, I have to admire the voice acting that he gave us, because at certain points I thought he was actually Willem Dafoe, but I definitely give him props for doing such an incredible job. This movie is definitely gorgeous to look at. It reminded me a great deal of Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away, and of course that was the other animated film that he created that got the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. But also, believe it or not, Hayao Miyazaki's Spirited Away is not one of my personal favorites in regards to all of the Studio Ghibli films. I definitely feel that this movie can be confusing at certain points in time, especially when we are introduced to the Parakeet Kingdom. The Parakeet King is definitely one of the most unusual characters, and believe me, the Heron is pretty unusual individual himself. But I really did appreciate a lot of the things that were in this movie, the concepts of loss, the concepts of rebirth. There were a lot of very interesting messages to take away from this film, even though I didn't feel that it was my personal favorite. But I will say that if you are a Studio Ghibli fan, and you want to see Hayao Miyazaki's return to storytelling and movie making, this is definitely one for you. So I am going to say that I am glad that I saw it. I actually definitely plan to rewatch it, and it's already in my Studio Ghibli collection. This was actually an impulse buy for me. I actually did a great deal of watching of all the Studio Ghibli films before I added them to my personal collection. There are certain films that they have given us that I do not have because I just simply don't like those films. But I'm definitely going to say that The Boy and the Heron is not a movie that I dislike. I definitely feel it deserves a couple of rewatches, and it's already in my Blu-ray and DVD collection, which is why I'm going to give The Boy and the Heron 3 stars out of 4. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please leave your comments in the box below, and let's discuss The Boy and the Heron, and I will see you in the next one. If you enjoyed the video you just watched, feel free to leave a comment. Also, feel free to subscribe if you want to be up to date with our latest videos. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.